Like 90% of those symptoms I hadn't had before. Like I say, it was lingering in the past, but that would have been like I would have had low blood sugars or just exhaustion. I was in so much pain. I had, even my eyesight went bad. I had tinnitus, crazy symptoms. So for me, when it first hit, it was like the end of the world. But little did I know the worst was yet to come. It was actually going to get progressively worse. But at that time, it was the worst thing. I remember saying to my husband, now boyfriend at the time, I can't believe the human body can feel this bad. I remember saying that over and over again. And yeah, it's crazy. I can kind of eat healthy and see that my body is starting to tone up and lose weight a bit. And that might not sound like a big thing to someone who's bedbound right now, but I was severely bloated. My weight had gone. I'd lost stones. I'd put up stones. Just to see my body even just react to anything in a positive way, just feel healthier. You feel healthier. So that's number one. The second one is I can walk now, so I can just go for a walk. I hate going for walks in nature though. Right? I know. Like I think it was Junior said this. He hates it too. I really hate it. I'm just not. This is not my vibe, right? Whatever. But like I can walk around the shopping mall all day.
How's it going, Thrivers? Miguel here from CFS Recovery. In this video, we have Nina all the way from Ireland. She's made some amazing progress. She's been dealing with this for a long time, but now she's gotten her life back. So I wanted to bring her on, share some inspiration, and drop some golden nuggets along the way. So, Nina, it's so great to have you on here. Welcome.
Hi. It's lovely to be here. Thanks, Miguel.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Nina, we spoke several months ago. I think it was 6 or 7 months ago, and at the time, you were in a pretty dark place. Even looking at the screen, I remember that was a struggle, right? You
Yeah.
couldn't even. But let's rewind the clock a little bit because you've gone from bedridden at your worst, severe sensitivities, to pretty much being able to live your life, and you're gonna be doing a lot more stuff this year that you have planned, which we'll cover. But going back in time, when did this all start with you? When did you start getting symptoms?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people on our program, and I think you might have even mentioned it once, a lot of us feel like we would have had this lingering maybe in the background since childhood. But my first real crash would have been 2015. So that's almost 10 years ago. And up to that point, I was like, doing what everyone does. I was running a business from home, taking care of kids, and just not taking a break. Like working 12-hour days and going to the gym in the years before that and just burning the candle at both ends. And then eventually it was an antibiotic. It was like, the way there's always one thing, one final thing, the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's what did it to me for a finish. So, yeah.
Wow, 2015. And so there were some stressors stacking up, and eventually you hit a wall. What was that
Yeah.
like when that first hit you? Did it like just put you in bed right away, or it was kind of like over the years you just could do less and less and less?
It was over the years I could do less and less and less, definitely. But that initial crash was insane because I had never like 90% of those symptoms I hadn't had before. Like I say, it was lingering in the past, but that would have been like I would have had low blood sugars or just exhaustion. I was in so much pain. I had, even my eyesight went bad. I had tinnitus, crazy symptoms. So for me, when it first hit, it was like the end of the world. But little did I know the worst was yet to come. It was actually going to get progressively worse. But at that time, it was the worst thing. I remember saying to my husband, now boyfriend at the time, I can't believe the human body can feel this bad. I remember saying that over and over again. And yeah, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. So when that first hit you, I mean, what were the one? How did you know that this was pretty serious? And what kind of symptoms were you feeling for those first few months when you had this? After your first crash?
Ironically, I found out this was pretty serious when I realized I wasn't getting help from doctors. That's when I realized, that's when I really got afraid. I was like, this is serious and it's something that I'm going to have to figure out. So my initial symptom, I didn't have fatigue initially. I had it very severe toward the end of my journey, just before I can on your guys' program, but I like adrenaline surges, the panic, brain fog. I lost a serious amount of weight. I think I lost like 4 stone. Um, God, I can't even remember now, just every single symptom in the book. But I realized it was serious when I took myself to I had chest pain as well. That was the first and only time I ever had chest pain. Thankfully, that symptom didn't carry on with me. But when I went to the hospital and I thought, okay, they're going to admit me. They're going to tell me I have X, Y, and Z. and it'll be okay. You know, they'll give me something. But I was never so panicked in my whole entire life when I was told I was fine. And then what happened after that was you go down through, I call it the ologist merry-go-round. So you see the endocrinologist, the cardiologist, the rheumatologist, the psychologist. Ironically, when I went to see psychologist, he actually told me that I didn't have any mental health issues. Like, I think that was crazy. He was like, "No, I think there's something more going on here." So I was just bouncing back and forth. They were referring me to each other. That was after extensive tests, and he was like, "I see you have anxiety about something. It wouldn't be like standard mental health." So I was like, "Oh my god, there's literally no. I can't even be. Like, they're not even telling me I'm crazy. They're literally telling me there's nothing wrong." So then I went down that like for years. And after I went to see all the ologists, a rheumatologist told me at one point because I have a history of lupus in my family that I may have lupus. But I didn't have I joined all these lupus groups on Facebook, and I was like, I don't have any of these symptoms, these people. Like I don't have these symptoms that these people have. These people were like going on runs and stuff for lupus awareness. I was like, what? I didn't have the pains yet or nothing. So after that, then I kind of fall into the pit what most people do on the program, which is I go into alternative medicine. So I seen naturopaths. I went to see, I got Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine. I even I went to see this guy, and he like this is real by the way. He took blood out of my arm and put it in the ozone, but he actually injected it into my head, and I did that 3 times. Like like that's the extent I know. Yeah, it can't be legal, right? So I removed my breast implants. I removed all like fillings. I hadn't had them replaced. I must have spent €100,000. I'm not joking. Like I'm probably one of the only people maybe on our program that can say they actually saw a plastic surgeon. Like that's a new one. Um, and then I went to see. So I had all the tests. I had the Dutch tests done. I had the saliva tests, like everything you can think of. And they told me what most people hear, which is that I have adrenal fatigue, severe adrenal fatigue. So I went down the rabbit hole of like trying to cure adrenal fatigue. And I worked with, and I mean, if you can think of every single big adrenal fatigue specialist that you see on YouTube, I worked with every single one of them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the programs. They must work for some people. They didn't work for me because they're supplement driven. And like you're paying maybe, like I remember phoning at one point and paying like €300 to be told, take 3 supplements. I was like, why am I paying these people? I can't even take these things. They were making me crash. I was so sensitive. And then I went through phases of getting IVs, the B12, the vitamin C, the iron, they all made me crash. It's been a crazy journey. And so, yeah, and then eventually how I found your channel is interesting because I was in all these Facebook forums, the doom forums, where if you write, I hurt my toe, they're like brain cancer. That's it, you're done.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
They can't get enough of it. So I was in one of those forums. I was in several of them. Anyway, I was in one forum and I noticed that there was this woman getting absolutely trashed in the comments for suggesting your channel, like absolutely obliterated. And I'd be kind of like, I'm always like, I thought root for the underdog, so I went in and checked her out. And I mailed her and I was like, look, who is this guy? What's the story? And she's like, just check him out. Like she was in shock because she literally got her from all angles from about 20 people. So that's how I found your channel. And another one of my best friends in the world now, who I met in one of those groups, is actually on your program as well. So we both joined within 2 weeks of each other. I just joined first to suss it, and then I was like, yeah, we got it. Like, so she joined after me, and we found each other in those groups. I'm so glad we both made it out of there, because it was awful. So yeah, she's doing amazing. She's with you now 7, 8 months, and she's killing it. So, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Updated.
Wow. Wow. So you tried so many different things. You spent like six figures on these different tests and treatments. It reminds me a lot of what I went through. The
Yeah.
IVs, the adrenal supplements,
Oh,
the the ologist merry-go-round. And it's just like you're getting more and more frustrated. So what was going through your mind when you're going from doctor to doctor and they're telling you stuff you've either already heard of that doesn't work, or they're not really giving you answers? Like, what was that like going through that few years? Was it confusion,
um,
sadness, anger, kind of the mix of everything?
I think there were points, points where I felt like giving up, but I never did because the one good thing I took from my previous life, my before CFS life, is I'm extremely stubborn and I will find a way, that kind of way. I'll keep pushing so I always had in the back of my head there's hope. But what used to happen to me was I'd leave a comment in a forum and I'd say, they're like, you got to heal your gut. you got to do this, you got to do that. So I ended up going down all these different avenues, spending money on nonsense, trying to heal crazy things that, I mean, like if there's anyone listening now that's going through that and like having all these tests and things, like I remember having a blood test done. They were like, what these people were saying, your kidneys need to be within this range and this range. I'm fine now. My bloods are the same now as they were, back when I was. I'm sure if I did this, all these candida tests, they would still be the exact same. Do you know? They were just a waste of money. So don't waste your money on that crap if you're watching and thinking about it. Really, really don't. So that was I was confused. That's how I felt. I was confused. So like I had there was one or two people that I used to like follow on YouTube. One was this dude called Jaden Christopher, who overcame this. It's just his own channel saying he overcame it himself. So I used to kind of binge his videos, and I always look for recovery stories. But when that lady anyway showed me your channel, I went on and I left a comment, and I said, "This sounds just like me, but I don't have this. I have adrenal fatigue." And you replied to me, and you were like, "I'm glad the content helps," but your followers were like, "No, like it's all the same thing. Whatever, they helped me out." So eventually, anyway, I scheduled a call with you. I was so glad I did. And I remember when I scheduled the call with you, I was like, no, I'll give this program a shot because I've been on so many programs. Like I was trying to find like I had this folder last night and I was gonna like read them out on the call today, and I was actually too embarrassed. I threw it in the bin. I was like, I can't. There was so
Really?
many. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had a call with you, and I remember we were like, I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna do this call and see, just see what this guy has to say. And I remember before I started the call, I was like, I'm gonna talk to him, and I'm gonna tell him my symptoms, and he's gonna say, that's weird. That must be this really rare thing. But every symptom I said, you were like, yeah, yeah, we know about that. It's not a big deal. I was like, no, Miguel, you don't understand. Like I have it way worse than anyone. You were like, yeah, 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 yeah. No, like you were just like whatever, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not this super rare case. Maybe I actually can get better from this. And you
Yeah.
were just like so blasé. You were like, it's completely fine. Like we have drivers with that the whole time, and I was like, it was the most comforting thing. And the single most comforting thing you said to me was, this is the last place people come to recover. Like, why would they keep looking for further programs after you're like, this is the full stop? So you were like, we're usually the last place people come. I'm like, well,
Mm.
it's good to know they're the last because they don't do anything after they come to you. And I stand by that because this is the last place I come and I will,
Yeah.
ran over.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember our conversation. And usually when I talk to somebody to assess their situation, it's usually the same case. We get all these crazy stories and symptoms and stuff that, when they tell other people, they kind of get this crazy look from people. But we hear it every single day, and I've heard it so many times. So nothing really surprises me at this point. So I remember when you were telling me
I
this stuff, I
believe it.
was like, oh yeah, no, like I've heard that hundreds of times. Actually,
Yeah.
there's so many people in the program dealing with that exact thing actually.
Mm,
So I think people are pretty surprised when they see my face. It's like that I'm talking about it like it's a normal thing. And it's like
mm,
the first time someone's looking at you like you're not crazy. And they're like, yeah, we
yeah.
could fix that. It's not a
Yeah.
big problem. So
Yeah.
you came on where we had that chat in January, and
Hmm.
you know, what do you think made the biggest difference? Because you tried so many other things, and whether it's supplements, treatments, probably other programs, probably some brain retraining things. What do you
Yeah.
think made it different this time around, where it actually worked?
Community. Community, 100%, a million percent even community. Because I had been binging like most do your YouTube videos before I joined because your content is there for free. Um, that's something I want to talk about in a minute because I see a lot of criticism and I take that to heart. Like I'll get back to that. But it's community because I joined in January and I was like, okay, let's see is there any other secret little nuggets out there that I can take away and like I can do this myself. It's completely fine. And I left for 3 weeks in February, and I came back to you with my tail between my legs. Please, Miguel, can I come back? Can I come back? And then I stayed for 7 months. So you weren't getting rid of me then that easy. But I was like, yeah, it's community. It's 100%. So I joined for the month of January, and I met some amazing people. But I was like, took away what I could from it, and I was like, I can do this. I'll be okay. No, you don't understand. You don't understand the importance of when you're sitting even on a Zoom call with people. And exact same thing like what happened on our initial call. Someone might say they have a symptom and they're freaking out, and you can tell immediately when they're in adjustment period. That's something you learn when you're in the program. They're like, and there's literally 70 people like on one call, or like we're 100 on another, just saying like, calm, it's okay. I've had that. I've been there. And then there's the smaller calls where people are more intimate and we can get to talk about topics and things like that. So it's community. You need those people. I needed those people around me. I couldn't do it without them. Otherwise you're just, oh God, yeah. Like that month of February was miserable. I was 3 weeks. Like I ended up going way back because I completely freaked myself out. All the responsibility on my shoulders. So to answer your question,
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
100%.
And how impactful was it being on those calls with other people who are like a few steps ahead of you as well, especially when
Mhm.
you're in adjustment periods? Like, how much of a difference did those live calls make?
Well, yeah, it's funny because that changed for me over time. So initially, when I joined, I was a little bit, because I think a lot of people in the first 2 3 weeks, it takes that little bit of time for the content to settle in fully. I think I found that with most people. Um, so for the first 2 3 weeks, I was like, these people who are like going hiking. I remember one guy was like chopping down a big massive tree and
Yeah.
like all these things previously bedbound and stuff, and I was skeptical of it. So initially, I was like, and then I was like, that's a symptom. If you're skeptical of the program, I realized very quickly that's a symptom. If you're skeptical of what coaches are telling you, that's a symptom. If you're watching this and you feel skeptical of the program, it's a symptom of just regulated nervous system. It's kind of reject everything that wants to help you. Anyway, so as time went on, and you say the content of the program really like resonated with me, I was seeing people out living their best lives, and it was so refreshing for me. So on the calls, we'll do like our wins, and then we go into questions. But initially, I didn't like the wins. I was like, "Oh, it's boring. I don't want to hear what so and so had for his dinner, or so and so went skiing. I'm here, whatever." But they became more important to me than the questions for a finish. So you're just sitting there on a call, and your brain retraining, just listening to other people, like
Yeah.
without actually having to do anything. Um, so yeah, that was really important to me. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And for you, what do you think your biggest breakthrough was? Where things really started to shift for you, or you had your biggest mind shift, or like when you implemented something and it really worked, and then you really like leveled up. Do you remember what that first experience was for you, and also when was it? Like month one, two, three?
It was it was like the week I rejoined in March. I think I was so relieved to be back on the program. And I had taken my daughter out, and the usual crap was happening. Like my legs were starting to feel like jelly, and the brain fog was increasing. And I remember just going, it was the St. Patrick's Day parade. That's what it was. So as you know, those parades are like packed with people anyway. But here, everyone's like drinking alcohol and falling everywhere. It's not the best place to be anyway if you're like not hypersensitive. But I remember meeting someone and they were talking to me, and I was so distracted by what they were saying, and I was just like into the conversation, and my symptoms kind of really resolved because I kept swatting, and I was like, damn, this really works. And because usually I'd do something with my daughter for 10 minutes, and I'd have to go home, like, or I'd park right near where I was, going, so I could get straight out to my car and leave. Um, and even driving, I didn't start doing that really again. Like the parade where I was like 15 minutes from my house. My city's really small. So like that would have been the extent of where I drove. Just another thing to add. Like I drove to Dublin a few weeks ago, which is like the other side of Ireland completely. Like I have no problem driving anymore.
Hmm. So it was
Yeah.
a huge level up, and you were
Yeah,
just
there
like,
was. Yeah, afterwards. Yeah, afterwards. Sorry, I forgot to include that. Afterwards, I didn't really have fear of like loud noises and places and things. So I would just it's kind of hard to rely, because what used to happen to me was I would have an adjustment period, and then I mightn't level up physically, but I'd level up cognitively. So it was really gradual, noticing that my screen sensitivity went away. Like one day I remember I was just watching something on Netflix, or I might have been watching one of your videos or something, or a replay or something. I was like, I'm on this like 25 minutes, and like some stuff is so gradual, you just forget, because your body likes to go straight back into that normal state if it's enjoying it. So your body really wants to forget this stuff as soon as it can, and it's like you really have to kind of almost like be like, take a minute and just be grateful. Okay, I couldn't do this 2 months ago. So yeah, my level ups were amazing. They were all in little different areas. Some of them were really sneaky, some of them were really big. But yeah, that was the moment, St. Patrick's Day, March.
oh yeah, and we
Yeah.
see it all. That first kind of huge win people have, because it kind of shows them that, whoa, I actually did a very big activity and I didn't landslide backward or I didn't crash. I didn't pay for it because normally,
Mm,
how our brain is primed to think. Because all those years up to this point, whenever you did something big, like you had to pay for it.
yep.
But now it pulled you out of that place and actually leveled you up by doing a bigger
Mhm.
activity, which is a huge mind shift for, a lot of people. But for you, what were some of the most helpful tools that you implemented that really helped you, just move forward in recovery and just build momentum? For some people, it's swatting stuff away. Some people, it's understanding what's going on. It takes the fear out of it.
It is, it's both, but it's again up to this point now. I'm perfectly fine and capable, but like during the journey of healing, it's the community. I can't stress that enough. I couldn't have done it without those people. But if you ask me now, it's knowing what's happening. It really is, like you can see even in my like 10-year journey, I'm looking for answers. That's all I'm doing is looking for answers. And sometimes I got some, and sometimes they just weren't the right answers. But it's knowing what's happening 100%. And it just takes the fear out of it like that. And it was almost like the second we finished our call when you were like I said, you were just like, Nina, it's just the nervous system. And then I was like, God, that night I slept. Like I hadn't slept. I have real like I had struggled with insomnia my whole life, even up until like recently. It's probably one of my last ones to go. I slept like 12 hours that night after our call, just knowing, So yeah, that was a
Hmm.
great night's sleep.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like having
Mm,
that, almost like a safety net, just knowing that, okay, this thing isn't going to kill me.
yep.
I'm not. I'm not just gonna. My body's not just gonna stop working. It's gonna keep going. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but it's just a nervous system. And when you can kind of point the finger at this one specific thing, it takes
Mm,
the teeth of the monster because you're not feeling like you're fighting a ghost anymore. Like there's
yeah.
some kind of objective here, and that there's a clear kind of path forward. You know, so what are some of the biggest differences in your life right now, like compared to right before you joined? Let's say last December compared to
Mhm.
right now, and we could start physically.
Mm.
Because expanded in all different areas, but physically, what can you do now that you couldn't really do 7 or 8 months ago?
Okay, one of the big things for me that was an issue, and I know it's like it is physical in a sense, is I can kind of eat healthy and see that my body is starting to tone up and lose weight a bit, and that not might not sound like a big thing to someone who's bedbound right now, but I was severely bloated. My weight had gone. I'd lost stones. I put up stones. Just to see my body even just react to anything in a positive way, just feel healthier. You feel healthier. So that's number one. The second one is I can walk now. So I can just go for a walk. I hate going for walks in nature though. Right. I know, like, I think it was Junior said this. He hates it too. I really hate it. I'm just not, this is not my vibe, right? Whatever. But like, I can walk around the shopping mall all day. It's the same number of steps, okay?
Yeah.
But so I can walk like the other day I did. It was like I was out the other day or whatever day I was in Dublin. I did like 14,000 steps. Like I think, and it was like flagging on my phone because I don't track anything. But your phone will track something if it's in your pocket. It was like this time last year you did 900 steps. Imagine that for a difference. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That was like could have even been me with my phone in my hand playing like Farm Heroes or something. Like Candy Crush. Like, 'cause I don't even think I was doing that steps here that many a year ago.
Yeah.
Like 1,000. No, I really don't think so. So yeah, so that's improved. Like it's crazy
Were you
because to
leaving?
me,
Were you leaving the house much? Like,
no,
last year? It
no,
was just
no.
housebound, pretty much.
Yeah, I was housebound. So like I drive my daughter up around the corner to school, usually like be shaken, and then I decide like I can't drive, it's too dangerous for me to drive. So I'd like turn around and like, oh, it's a fucking nightmare, but excuse my language. But I was like pretty much on the couch the whole time, in the bed the whole time. And like if friends or someone wanted to call, I would just get like instant panic. I couldn't tolerate anything or anyone even calling to talk to me. Um, it was the most I could do at that stage to like listen to a YouTube video, like literally play and just. So um, it seems like when I'm talking about it like now, it seems like I'm lying. I feel like to myself I'm making it up, because I'm such a different person now. I really have to think about it, like, and remember, because I think, like I said a while ago, I think your brain tries to forget because it's so messed up. And so, like, when you say to me, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I forgot about that. I forgot that I was that bad, and I forgot about, like, driving the child to school and having to, like, come straight back and things." It's crazy how quick you forget, but in another way, you never forget, you know, that kinda way? You forget the
Yeah,
specifics, you don't forget the journey, right? So
yeah,
last year, yeah, it was that was crazy. But in terms of physical stuff, though, there's nothing I can't do right now. But, I enjoy stuff a lot more, so I take my time with things. Like, okay, so before this call, I'm trying to, like, I open my computer and it's like, decide it needs to update 5 minutes before I need to do a call, and before I would have been like, like, freaking out and trying to do a million and one things to fix it, but I'm just way more chill and just living the moment and just enjoying life. That's a
yeah.
massive, uh,
It's you're just responding
difference.
well to life
Yeah,
stressors, right?
responding well to life stressors, yeah.
And that's the
And
interesting thing.
also sorry,
It's
go ahead.
no, that's the interesting thing. How a lot of the principles you learn in recovery, they're also very applicable to life in terms of
Yeah,
just controlling what you can control, which is your response to things. There's some things that
mhm,
pop up that you can't control in life, just like how symptoms, you can't really pick and choose which symptoms come and go when you have CFS. It's really
yeah,
just how do you deal with them, because that will
yeah,
determine what happens next. Do they stay around? Does the problem get bigger or does it get smaller? So we have the
mhm,
power to amplify that or shrink that problem. But yeah,
well
go ahead.
said. Yeah, well said, 100%. Um, yeah, no, this is something I wanted to address, and I hope I do it properly because sometimes when I used to look at your YouTube videos and you'd mention and talk about the idea of recovery and how you know you when you're recovered and how you still have to take these principles with you for the rest of your life and use these tools. I think people might think that, yeah, okay, you still have some symptoms, you're not 100%. It's different. It's like you tell us on the in the cat in school that there's you before CFS, you during, and then there's you after. And it's like you after will want to use these tools for the rest of your life. It's not that you're using them to like constantly evade symptoms. If you wake up dizzy and you're like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm totally fine, and it's not like that. It's you will want to use them for the rest of your life. You'll see what I mean when you get there. If you're on your healing journey, you see what I mean. It's not that you're just like, oh God, like I'm gonna have some version of this forever. No, you won't. But you will want to be that new, improved version of yourself because, like I said, like I know how. If I wanted to go back to being bedbound, I know how to do it very easily. I could probably do it in the next 2 days and come back and say like okay, probably a week or two. I could really, unless I went like doing a backflip or skydiving or something in the next 24 hours. But I could get back there. I just won't. You know, but it
Yeah.
doesn't scare me. I think I'm just quoting you now because it doesn't scare me because I know how to get out of it. I'm not scared of it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
Because we're
yeah,
in the driver's seat now. Like we're in control. Whereas before, we don't even know what's causing us to get worse or
yeah,
what's even causing us to get a little bit better. So now, when you know these things, you start to embody these principles and they become a part of you. It's like you
yep,
just naturally become a little bit of a different person because that's the only way to really, really pull yourself out of this to a point where you're fully functional, living a high quality life. And there's a lot of people they kind of recover in the past, but they don't know why they recovered. They
yep,
thought it was if they waited long enough or something happened and they just came out of it. But when you don't know why you recover, you're going to make the same mistakes again. For people to fall into this again, after recovering, after getting their life back and knowing exactly what they did to get their life back, you'd have to just be really irresponsible
yeah,
to go backwards. You'd have to ignore so many signs. Like in a way, you'd almost have to purposely do that to go
yeah,
back because the signs are so obvious. But yeah,
yeah,
it's so true what you just said. So
yeah. But I won't ever do that. But that that but it just to clarify that a little bit because I feel like when you are for me when I'm in the bed listening to like recovery videos, you listen to every single word and you're like, what does that mean? Is there an alter? Does that mean something else? Is there a hidden whatever agenda here? But that's what that means if you've seen that in videos. I'm talking from experience. It's not that you don't have to if you don't want to, but you will want to. So it'll be the new you if you decide to do this program, which you should.
yeah, yeah. And some people think like you have to live the whole rest of your life in maintenance mode.
No,
That's not
yeah,
what it feels like. It's like I'm actually doing way more than I used to do, but I have
Mhm.
the tools to keep, like, let's say before I drive the car like 200 miles an hour and never take breaks, never take pit stops, never tune it up. Now I can drive my car 300 kilometers an hour, which is live the pace of my life. But
Mm.
now I also take a lot of pit stops and, make sure the bolts are tight. I'm gassing it up. I'm taking care of the vehicle now versus just
Yeah.
recklessly redlining it to see how far it can go. So it's every now and then making a pit stop here and there. Like for me, I'll work really hard, but then I'll actually take days off like a normal person does. And I think that's the big difference. So
Mhm.
when people watch this stuff and they're like, "Oh, you have to maintain for the rest of your life." Nah, not really.
No. Yeah.
Just have to be,
Maintain is the wrong word. I know what you mean, yeah.
yeah,
It's not
you just
the
have
same.
to be mindful of your body and like just
Mhm.
be responsible basically and implement the
Yeah.
tools, you know. So you were saying something earlier about, we give away all the information for free
Mm.
on YouTube and all our social media platforms, but then we
Yeah.
have our paid solutions, which is where you get
Mhm.
to directly with coaches and be a part of the inner circle community, interact with people. Um, for you, you mentioned the community was one of the
Yeah.
biggest things, and was that the thing that was lacking in all these other things that you tried? Because it was all just on your own before, right? You and the
Yeah.
doctor, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah, but just to circle back a small bit because when you were talking there about, um, you're giving away the content for free in the program and all that type of stuff. So I wanted to say this because this has been bothering me for a really long time since I've been on the program. If you are a CFS patient activist and you come on, the YouTube channel and leave comments saying this won't work, blah blah blah. There are so many of us on this program who are who are getting our lives back. And it's like I asked Miguel, could I do this recovery video? He didn't email me saying, I'm going to give you blah, blah, blah to do this recovery video. I'm going to, that's just not what happened. So when you go on there and you leave a comment saying, this isn't real, this guy's a scammer, there are hundreds of us on this program who are extremely protective of our coaches. And I just wanted to highlight that because, if you are, like, I'm talking about one particular comment, there might have been more, but you go into these people's bio and they're like patient activist, ME researcher, and stuff like that. And I just wanted to highlight that and say that there are plenty of us who are hard workers, overachievers. We have doctors on the program, we have OTs on the program, we have physiotherapists. I'm about to, go back and finish my PhD in September. There's real hard workers there. There's, fathers, mothers. We're not stupid, we're not like indoctrinated.
Yeah.
So I really don't like those comments. If you want to help people and you're a CFS patient activist, then I don't know why you would go on a program and leave those comments. All the content is out there for free. Like for example, if you people know how to lose weight, but they join a Weight Watchers program, everyone knows how to lose weight. You reduce your calories. The content is there for free on YouTube. But if you want to join the program and create communities like we have, that's what you pay for. So I just don't understand the problem. It has really annoyed me for a really long time. So I'm glad I got that off my chest. So yeah, moving on from that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. And it used to really
Yeah,
bother me too, but when I see those comments like that, I pretty much just assume, okay, this person's probably in a big flare up or they're dealing with a
yeah,
lot of symptoms because I think if you really look at things without emotion, um, or at least myself, we
mm,
have over 1,200 free YouTube videos online. We give away so much stuff for free. And then if people want to work directly with our coaches, then what do they think? Money comes from the sky? Like
yeah,
we need to put food on the table. The coaches need to eat. We have almost 15 people on the team. So,
yeah,
a lot of people say if you really cared about helping people, you just help people for free, which I already do. So
yeah,
they contradict themselves. But I just kind of see
yeah,
them, yeah, they're CFS activists, but it seems like they're fighting for CFS, not against it.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah, yeah,
profiting
yeah.
it up, so they can't fix it. So I just see it as like, okay, they're probably flaring up or in an AP. So it's really
Mhm.
interesting, but it's actually really helped me control my response to
Yeah.
these stressors to really bother me. But then I'm like, I can't control what people say, but I can control how I
Mm,
respond to it. And I'm just going to keep putting up content, keep helping people, basically.
mm.
But I appreciate you
Yeah,
bringing that up.
Yeah, I feel like your conscience would be clear because I don't know how it wouldn't be when you're in our program and you see people post every single day. I'm doing this. I went here with my family. Like there was a girl the other day, think asking about pregnancy and thinking about having a second child and things, and it's like you don't see what we see, and I just take it to heart because like that, like I said, we're all extremely protective of our coaches, and you've helped us. You and the girls and Junior have helped us get our lives back. So I really don't like when I see people comfy online and the lies that are out there. Don't do the program. Do the free online content. But for me, I needed the community. That's just me. I just needed the community. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. That was a big thing I wanted to get in there because you know it, I feel like if someone goes to the comment section and they could really benefit from your program, and then they're led astray by an uninformed comment or something like that, because people are desperate, and there's people really sick out there, and they're not going to take time to research and say, hey, is this true or whatever. They just So you're preventing people from getting help if you want to be an
Ab-
activist.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. So now that you made it through the trenches, like you come out the other side of this, and how does it feel now? Do you feel like you're a better version of yourself than you were before? Because we always talk about
yeah,
in the program, you know, this is like the 2.0 version of yourself. Do you really
yeah,
feel that way right now?
yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to explain and it's hard to understand that. That's why I kind of touched on that a little while ago. It's really hard to understand that before you have reached a certain point in recovery. I'm still the same person I was, but I have implemented all these tools into my life so that I can be healthy and enjoy my time with my friends, not have anxiety every time my phone goes off, and make plans and go out, and not the big one, not to have to worry about my symptoms when I leave the house, not to have to say, oh, I can't, oh God, like will I be okay if I go to the cinema? Will I be okay if I walk around the store or whatever. I don't worry about those things anymore. So it's amazing. What it does is it opens doors for you. So you get to a certain point where you're recovered, and the doors open. You start to think, what other self improvement things can I do? You start to really, I don't know, did you go on that journey as well? But it's like I feel like, oh, I feel like I could improve. No, I don't spend enough time doing this. I want to get a hobby, and you start to really treat yourself the way we should have always treated ourselves, and it's so refreshing to me because I never really had a hobby. I would just do things because I thought that other people had done them, so they must. I never enjoyed them. I never went to like a concert and enjoyed it. Isn't that crazy? I
Oh
never
yeah,
went to like the gym and enjoyed it. I was just like, this is what other people do. This is what stupid, really. But yeah.
yeah.
So it's really different.
And I think the big difference as well is like prior to getting CFS, I was living to just fight through life and race
Yeah.
through life, just rush through life. So it was like go, go, go mode. Prior to getting CFS, I was living to fight. During
Mm,
CFS, I was just living to survive. That was it. Make it to the end of
yeah.
the day. Let's try not to die today. Okay. And that was my reality for a long time.
I know that feeling. Yeah.
Recovered. Yeah. After I recovered, it was living to survive to living to thrive. So it completely changes the focus and the outlook on how you view the world. And I think once you come out the other side, it's just a higher quality experience of life.
Hmm.
Even when I wasn't fully functional yet, I was actually able to enjoy activities like I never enjoyed them before because I was fully
Yes.
present and I wasn't like I didn't feel like I was missing out on working and opportunities. And it's interesting because once you get your health right and your mind right, and you just look at life through that different lens, like you said, there's so many opportunities that open up, so many doors open up. I think that happens because there's more space for you to notice these things versus just rushing through life. It's like if you're going through a beautiful garden or a countryside or whatever, and you're just ripping through it, you're gonna miss all the beautiful things, the nature,
Mm,
the scenery. But now that things are at a slower pace, or you're more aware of what's going on, you don't have this
mhm.
tunnel vision on certain things. You're able to
Yeah.
see so many different aspects of life that you didn't see before,
Yeah.
which opens up the window for or opens up the door to doing so many other things. So
Hmm.
that's one of the best things that happened after recovery. It's like you're able to stop and smell the roses, essentially.
Mm.
You know,
And just that reminded me of something. So I had severe food sensitivities, the gluten, the dairy, the this, that. I was like just as terrible for a really long time. And I tried all the diets, like the raw vegan, the celery juice. Oh my God. I'm not getting a taste of that celery juice when I said it. It's so disgusting.
That
So
part.
I tried, oh my God, it's horrible. So bad. But so I did all the things. And what I realized when I reached the other side of recovery is that I've actually started to enjoy food. Before I would eat. Um, like, just like I'd eat really quick and I'm like, oh, on to the next thing. I'm starting to feel a bit lightheaded, like pre-crash. Eat so I can go to the gym, eat so like I started to enjoy food. That's the first time in my life. Now, people might who know me might say different. They say she always enjoyed her food. She'd be like eating really quick and stuff, but it's different to enjoying the taste of food. That's not even like a thing I had. Like, this is a new thing for me entirely for my whole life. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm,
Just tasting things will be like, God, that really tastes like that. I always ate so quick. And
mhm.
does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah. Yeah.
Food was such an enjoyable thing once I was back
Mm,
in the world again because
yeah.
for the longest time, you're getting in a lot of sensory overload, a lot of stimulus, but it's, like, negative. Like,
Yeah.
if it's too bright or if the food is too strong or too spicy, immediately it's symptoms. So, all the
Mm,
stimulus results in something negative or something like
yeah.
a negative experience. But food is one of those things. Oh, it ain't just food. There's different flavors, there's different textures, there's different styles of food. So I
Mm,
was able to really enjoy food after I got out of the hospital.
mm,
So much so that I actually put on like 60 pounds within a year. Like it was crazy. I took it a bit too far, but yeah, it was nice being able to enjoy food. And now, especially, it's like enjoying food with friends, you know,
mhm.
actually taking the time to sit there and tell stories and crack jokes and not have half of my brain thinking about, okay, what do I have to get done? What am I
Yeah.
missing right now? It's
Yeah.
totally different, you know?
Mhm. Same
So
present.
yeah. So physically, you've expanded quite a bit.
Mhm.
Let's touch on cognitively. Like, what are some things you can do now cognitively that you couldn't really do before or were a struggle 7 or 8 months ago? I know screen time is a huge one, but
Yeah.
you don't have those issues anymore.
Oh my gosh, that was not even not yeah, it was screens, but it was televisions. It was like I had this light here and this mirror. I couldn't have even had that on. Um, phone, the sun coming in the windows, like. But I feel like even though I was quite impaired physically because I was like lying in bed with like a towel or something on my face, um, cognitive was my big thing. So I struggled with severe brain fog, inability to find words, inability to form sentences. Um, it got so bad that I forgot to add neurologist to my ologist merry-go-round. I saw him too for my brain fog. He was like, "Just go home, please. Nothing wrong with you." Um, so yeah, so cognitively, I can read a book again, which is my big thing. So like I thought that was gone. I thought I'd lost it, and it really that's worse to me than like the physical being stuck in bed thing because you know that they say it will attack your most what's it your most treasured or
Most valued,
most value, that's the one.
yeah.
I've heard Junior say it so many times and I couldn't quote him, but yeah, most value. So that was what I valued most was like my reading and my work. And I had before I had my major crash, which was August 2022. I was still like teetering in like in and out of like you said a while ago. I got better, but I didn't know why. So I had done a degree and a master's, and then like after the few years, just before 2022, I was like, oh, I'll start PhD. And then so would have been due to start this September, and I had the crash in August. So I never got there fully, to fully. Oh, it breaks my heart. Like, so it took all that from me, and I was like, that's it. I'm never going to be able to do it properly. I'm never going to be able to achieve what I set out to. This is a big thing for me. And this is going to destroy me. But now I'm going back to finish it in September. So I'm going back to start it properly in September rather. So yeah, cognitive was a really big thing for me, and that's something that I seriously had to swat morning, noon, and night. At the beginning I was like swatting away, like as if I was in like a room full of flies. It was just like constantly
Mhm.
swatting away thoughts and responding well. Like I don't think people realize how often you have to do that at the beginning. You might be doing it a thousand times a day, but it's worth it. So that it's like I'm so glad. I'm so grateful. I'm trying not to get choked up about it, but yeah. That was really bad. My cognitive symptoms were terrible. I remember trying to type in CFS recovery into YouTube, and I couldn't remember the name of your channel, even though like I had been binging it. I was like, "What's that guy's name?" I was like, "Ugh." So that's how bad it was. Funny now when you think about it, but at the
Mhm.
time when you're like, it's so scary. So yeah, cognitively, there's been that I've seen the biggest improvements there because that was the one thing that really was horrific. It was so bad. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I remember initially when we first spoke, you brought up, because I asked you what's one of your big goals, or if we could snap our
Mhm.
fingers, want to be doing it. Like, I want to be doing my PhD. I
Yeah,
said, okay,
that's right.
well, when's that coming up? September, which was like 9 months away from
Yeah.
when we talked. And I was like, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, you'll be good to go by then.
Yeah, 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 you did. And I was like, "This guy's crazy." But you weren't lying, you were telling me the truth. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we're right on track, right on pace for that. Because I
Mhm.
could always kind of tell. I could tell based on. I think with you, it was number one. It's like your mindset and willingness to give this a fair shot. And you're
Yeah,
at the point where you're like, yeah, I'll do anything at this point. I tried so
yeah,
many
that's
things.
right.
I'm tired of things not working. Like, can you help me? Will this work? What does it look like? So I could tell if someone is 100% all in and they're like, Miguel, if you told me to eat cardboard, I'd do it. I don't care. Just tell me what to do. And they've had all their tests and scans done, which you
Yeah,
did. You did
yeah,
so many different things. Um, that's like a clear indicator that, okay, this should be on our end. This should be like, we should be able to knock it out of the park. It shouldn't be a complex case just because we've seen it so many times. What really gets in the way of a lot of people is if they have doubts about this working, because in a
yeah,
way, like you won't be able to effectively brain retrain if you're constantly saying, is this really going to work though? I don't know.
yeah.
If
That's a
there's,
symptom also.
yeah, if there's too much of that, you can have a little bit of it, but if there's too much of that, then it's really going to stop the progress dead in its
Mhm.
tracks. So, going back, thinking about your journey, because there's a lot of people listening to this right now, and they're probably thinking, "Man, she pulled off some miracle. How did she do it?"
Mhm.
Just to show that you've been where they've been. What would you say is one of your biggest mistakes in recovery that kept you stuck or kept you going backwards or prevented you from making progress? Maybe the top one or two things, like the biggest mistakes that you made or hindered your growth.
The first one was relying on Western medicine to fix it, and what I mean by that is to find an overnight cure, like they treat a cold or a flu, and then kind of using that same narrative when I went into the naturopathic world, which is also give me a supplement to fix it, looking for an overnight fix. You didn't get into this situation overnight for most people. They usually have a kind of a build up. Oh, I was really stressed, or maybe some people got COVID, and so it's going to take a while to fix. You're not going to find an overnight fix to this, unfortunately. And I don't think anyone will. If you do, it's a miracle. Wasted so much time on that type of stuff. Wasted so much time thinking that, like, I was like one of those people that would say, no, this isn't. I have too many physical symptoms. The brain training can't fix this. I would almost be insulted if someone suggested this to me. Like, I would say I would probably block them and, like, I don't know, send a message to someone giving out about them or something, or reading them, or something like that. But that's what. So just be open minded. Just be open minded about it, please, because I spent. It's not like I I'm in this like 9 months and I bounced back and I am in this 10 years. This took 10 years of my life. And I try not to think about that because if I do, like, it's like a rabbit hole, whatever. Like, but I learned so much. So in a way, would I change getting it? No. And I know that sounds counterproductive if you're bedbound at the moment or whatever. Um, just please be open minded because I was where you are. And I know that feeling. And I know, like I said to Miguel at the start, what I used to say to my husband, I can't believe the human body can feel this way. I can't believe the human body can feel this bad and be told like there's nothing wrong with you. So if you're in that position, please just be open minded and consider brain retraining. Don't do what I did, which is waste hundreds of thousands, even seeing plastic surgeons. Get off. That's a new one for you now, Miguel. Surely, like, come on.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely haven't heard that one before. You're
yeah,
first
yeah,
for
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Get off the forums. Just get off the forums. I mean, I don't know. those things held me back for years. If you're on one of those forums that like say, oh, you got to test for candida, you got to test for this and that, and adrenal fatigue, and just get off them, just stay away from 'em. They literally, I've wasted so many years of my life dealing with that nonsense, and it is nonsense. So yeah, that would be what I would think. And I just want to. That's why I emailed you saying, "Will I do a recovery with you?" Wasting their time, because there's so many out there who will waste your time, and there's so many people out there who genuinely think they're helping, but they just don't know. They just don't know the right answer. Um, and I've met some amazing people along the way, and I have met some people who are still in the trenches because they refuse to maybe give this a try. And I see them post on Facebook every day, and it breaks my heart because I was like that with them, and now I've moved on, and they're still there. Now we've nothing in common anymore. Because when I told them about the program, they were like, "No, the FDA are looking to this and that," and I was like, my heart breaks for them. So hopefully someday they'll be receptive to it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and that's a huge thing, like, constantly looking for external fixes.
yep,
Uh, Maybe someday the FDA is gonna have something, but, doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon, and realistically, are we just gonna sit around and wait for them to find something, or are we gonna take control of our lives and, take initiative? Especially if we've seen that
100%.
it's worked with other people. So,
Yeah,
I don't think it's wrong for people to seek out solutions and try things, but I think it's also very important to only try something if wherever you're getting that information from is somebody who has actually been through it and
agree.
experienced what you feel,
Yeah,
and they've gotten out of it. And most of all, if they've helped other people and
mhm,
they have a high recovery rate, then why wouldn't you give that a try? You know, versus going the machine gun approach, trying every single thing for like a week at a time. That doesn't work.
yeah,
Try this thing, that doesn't work. Go the sniper approach. Like really take the time to go find something that resonates with you, and then if
mhm,
it resonates with you, then go for it. But you got to be
yeah.
all. You can't be one foot in, one foot out. So
Yeah,
with
that
the,
was one thing that Junior said to me when I was like it was my last call, and I was saying goodbye to everyone in my group, and it was emotional. And he just said to me, if you have any advice for anyone like on the program or just starting out, and it's just like you said there, pretty much be a good student. You have to be a good student. If you're not, and that sounds like, oh my God, it's so much work. It's not. It's just that you have to be in that right mindset. And when you're in that right mindset and you start to see changes and you start to see things coming back to you, like maybe one day you'll have less brain fog, or maybe you can walk to the bathroom without aid, or whatever situation you're in. And it makes it that little bit easier to believe. But in the beginning, just be a good student and listen and don't have doubt and stay off those forums. Just stay away from them because they're just so treacherous and they hinder your recovery. And they held me back years. And I am so passionate about that because this is 10 years. And I think as well, another thing, right? So I think when you go on this journey and you recover, so I'm here and I'm doing this recovery journey, so I'm not going to ever meet the people who are watching this video, most likely. But what people don't see is I've recovered from this and I have two daughters, and this will impact their life positively. They might have kids. It's like seeps positive into everyone's life around me in a real positive way. So I done this program for myself. I also done it for like everyone around me that I love, and for the future of my kids, or if I know someone else in this situation, to help them. So it's not just the individual. I think people don't realize the positive impact it has on everyone in your lives. Like my kids had their mother, but I wasn't like, I wish I don't even want to think about that because I'll get too upset. But there was times where I was like bedbound when I wanted to be with my kids and things, and that's changed now. So, the program didn't even really change my life. It changed the life of like 11-year-old girl that you're never going to meet or know. Do you know that kind of way? So it really, it's that's something I was thinking about last night when I was thinking about our call today. I was like just like reflecting on the last few years, and um, yeah, I go
yeah,
off on random tangents, but I think it's applicable anyway, right?
oh yeah, absolutely applicable. It's that ripple effect.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
for
that's
in the trenches of this. That's something that will keep you fighting. I'm sure your daughters were a big reason that you weren't just going to roll over and give up on yourself. You know,
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
you knew that I'm not just fighting for me, I'm fighting for my daughters. I'm fighting for people around me, their lives, their future, because, you know, in an alternate reality, had you decided, nah, I'm not going to do this, let me just keep doing this myself.
Mm.
You know, I want to save a few $100 a month actually, and let me
Yeah.
just keep it myself. You know, you could have been sick for 10, 15, 20 more years. How many vacations missed is that? How many Christmases where you can't show up as the mother you want to be for your
Hmm.
daughter? So it's a huge ripple effect. And another big reason you did so well was, you dropped the ego, and
Yeah.
you had been through so much before you even found us. I mean, you had it longer than I did. You did all these tests. I'm sure you did tons of research, but for a lot of people, they don't want to let go of all that information, even though it doesn't work, because they're thinking, I spent so much time researching this. I know so much about CFS and the mitochondria. So
Mm.
what Miguel's saying is contradicting what I believe. But at the end of the day, are you here to be right, or are you here to get better?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people, if they really knew this much about CFS and knew how to get out, they're giving advice, they would be better, you would think. So if they're not better, then it's pretty safe to assume that, okay, well then you just have the wrong information or the wrong approach. So
Yeah.
replace it with something that does work, but you have to drop the ego in order
Hmm.
to do that, and forget a lot of the stuff that you spent so much time and energy researching. And
Yeah.
that's difficult for people, to admit that they're wrong.
It's agonizing from personal experience to like, I mean, I remember one of my first wins was I threw out all of my supplements, and Chris said, one of the coaches was like, "Oh my god," because it's such a big thing for me.
It was your lifeline, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had a supplement graveyard. I had like I literally emptied every, and I was looking at them, and I was like, "What even is that? Like glutathione? What the hell is this?" And like I didn't even know what half of them were, but it was just years of me paying people to sit like this for 2 minutes, maybe €300, be told take this, 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 and this. Okay, thanks very much, but I also feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack. And they're like, "Yeah, well, take that fight." That's what you're dealing with. And I was like popping pills and again looking for that quick fix. That's what it boils down to. And I like thinking back now, like I said, when I had the call with you, I genuinely expected to come on the call or for you to be like, sorry, we can't help you. You're like this really like rare case, and I don't know anyone who's as bad as you, and you should just definitely do your own thing. But like I said, you were just like, no, like I've actually been there. I've been in ICU, and like you told me your whole story and stuff. And kind of my ego died a bit that day. You humbled me, like, because you were like, you're not special. Like, and I know if there's people out there, because it's such a horrendous feeling when you're in that crash. I can still remember it, but I can't replicate it in my body anymore. I wouldn't want to, but I can still remember it. It's so hard because one of the symptoms of that is ruminating. So you're just going to ruminate all day about like all these um, things. What could it be? The mitochondria, the this, the that. I don't even know half the research that's out there. I don't need to know half the research that's out there because the more I know, when I was in that state, it would actually make me worse. It would cause not even adjustment periods. Some of that stuff caused crashes. Um, so like it's just the less I knew about it, the better. And I know that some people are going to raise their eyebrows and be like, no, like really, just take my word for it.
Simpler is better. The more simple it is, the less you can confuse yourself when you're in an adjustment period and your mind it's like poking holes in everything. So when you
Hmm.
don't give it much material to poke holes in, like, it just makes it so much easier to navigate that.
100%. And also, I think that I had a theory that my body couldn't produce energy. I used to tell people that my body can't produce energy. They're like, do you know how much energy it takes to sit around and ruminate all day, every day about nonsense? Constantly. Like that literally burns so many calories. I didn't realize that till I was healed. Someone just said that one day in one of our calls. I was like, wow, that's true. And I used to feel a little bit more energized when I go to an appointment, or feel a little bit more energized when my supplements came in the post. And that was kind of a little bit of I kind of flagged that myself. I was like, why am I feeling a little bit better? Like just before our call, or no, it was my roadmap call with Junior. Um, I felt like that day I felt really good because I was like, a solution's on the way. So I was like, why am I starting to feel better? It was crazy. I remember that there. Yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that. Somewhere probably, but
Yeah.
yeah,
No, well, sometimes you could do physical things and you'll actually feel better and more energy than just
yeah.
being in bed all day. Because you're right, it takes so much energy to run marathons in your head, like, actually more
Hmm.
energy than sometimes just doing physical things. So
Yeah.
once you realize that, then you your beliefs about CFS start to break down, because it's not like this battery that your energy is this battery that needs to recharge and you just have to wait X amount of time. It doesn't work like that.
That made me worse.
Yeah.
That made me worse, and I know that's counterproductive to like 99.9% of the information that's out there. But I would never say to someone, that's bedbound right now, get up and go out and walk. Don't do that. Like I'm not saying that. You need to look at the content of this channel, and you maybe need to. It's going to sound now like you're telling me to say this, but you're not. You maybe need to work with a coach on the program or work with Miguel, because I wouldn't recommend that absolutely. But staying in bed and like Junior, I think it was Junior who said this to me at the start. Was like I was like, oh, I've had an AP, so I just like would go to bed, and he'd be like, that's gonna make you worse, and I'd be like, yeah, you're right. I kind of realized that then. So it just made me 100. It made me so much worse, and that's why I think I became. I don't think I was ever like deconditioned in a sense, because I would like constantly have to like crawl. I would have to crawl to my down. I remember one time, because my husband works at night. He works night times, and I crawled downstairs to get my daughter cereal, like on my hands and knees to get her cereal for her breakfast.
Crazy times. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy times.
So so I don't think I was ever at a stage where I was like deconditioned, but I was like, because I'd have to constantly like move it. But that taken to the bed stuff, yeah, it's not it wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's not a
Now
solution.
I like to take to the bed if I've like had a day of walking around too much, and I like turn on Netflix and I'll do like a Netflix binge, and we get dominoes and stuff, but that like we're all in the bed and it's like raining outside. That's a different kind of take to the bed. I'm not giving that one up. That's fun.
Oh, yeah. No, no, you definitely doing that one. That sounds like tons of fun.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's awesome. But we this has been a great chat. We're over an hour in. I feel like we could talk for hours. So
yeah,
many golden nuggets, so many golden nuggets, and your story is so relatable, especially I think everybody's is, but the way you explain it is just so vivid and clear in what you've experienced. Um, but
yeah,
just say my last question for you at the end of the day, and this may be a rhetorical question, but would you say it's been a good investment joining the
yeah.
academy?
Yeah, 100%. I can't even stress how much, like, it's absolutely nothing. Like, you're paying to get your life back. If you're able to, and you're able to get on here and just even just have like the initial call to see what this program offers you, and be like me, go on and be a skeptic and think, yeah, yeah, another program, and like you'll be humbled, like the way I was. It's the best investment I ever made in my whole life, and I mean that. And I don't regret a thing. And I go around every day, and I have the coaches' voices in my head, not like in a bad way, not in a, not in a mental health way, but like I'll be like, those things will stay with me forever. They're so clever in the way that they literally drill home the tools and into your brain while you're reprogramming. And I live my life in a completely different way. I owe these people my lives now. And best investment I ever made, hands down, 100%. If you're thinking about doing it, just do it. And if you find for any reason that you don't want to join a program, or another program's not for you, just binge the free content and ignore the comments if you see any, because they'll only hold you back. Take it from me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Nina, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and sharing some of your story, and so excited for what's to come in your future, because your
Yeah,
life your 2.0 life is just getting started. It gets better and better. That's the coolest part. So thank you so much. And any
you're
exciting
welcome.
stuff coming up this year, aside from the PhD, like any trips or things you have planned?
Um, well, we're not gonna. I had planned on going away on a trip this year, but we bought a horse because my girls are big into horse riding, and so that's a massive expense. And I have taken 2 lessons, and I am absolutely terrible, terrible. But that's okay. I've done it. It takes a lot. You would be so like tired, not CFS tired now, guys, right? But like physically, like it's such a workout. But I love it, so I can't wait to kind of get in there and learn like that whole thing of getting a new hobby. And I love it. Yeah. So going forward, that would be my plans for the foreseeable. I'll update you all in the Facebook group anyway, and see
Yeah.
how you're all doing. I'll keep in touch there and stuff like that. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Nina. And for everybody watching this right now, this has been a very, very powerful interview, just straight up raw recovery experience. Nina, I was I always say this in every video I do like this, but Nina's not just some alien who had some magical power, and she doesn't have something that you guys don't have. And same with
Yeah.
me, I don't have something that you guys don't have. I'm just a human. But what I did have that maybe you're not implementing right now is the information, right? Or some kind of plan to move forward. So just know that you can do it. I mean, you heard Nina's story, bedridden at her worst. She was crawling to go get cereal for her daughter. So we've been in the trenches. We know what you're going through, but we can also tell you that the little bit of hard work that you put into recovery, into brain retraining, into learning these things and implementing it, it's so worth it once you get your life back and you're able to do all these things. So there is a way out. There is absolutely light at the end of the tunnel, and just keep on going. So if you did want some extra help on your journey, likely we'll be able to help you if you're watching this channel. But you can click the link down below. You can apply to work with us, and we can really see if you're a good fit. If you're not, totally fine. We'll refer you out to some other resources. But if you are a good fit, we'll give you 110% effort to make sure we help you get your life back. So always remember, you are a thriver and you are just one mind shift away from living a life with thriving health. We will see you guys in the next video. Nina, thank you so much and keep on crushing it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a million.